What's up everybody, Zach here today, and I'm going to try to put everything you need to know about Descendants and weapons into one video. There is no giveaway, so watch if you want, and comment if you have any questions. I have 400 hours into the game, I'm MR22, and have all the Ultimate Descendants completely unlocked and maxed out. So the first thing we want to talk about is if you're not done with the campaign yet, stop watching this video. Until you're into hard mode, the game hasn't really began for you. So you want to make sure that you get through all those story missions, kill the Hanged Man, and then that's when the grind really starts. Now that you've completed the story, let's take a look at how to build Descendants. Health, defense, and shields are going to be your first steps to creating characters. In the early game, these are the only things that really matter to you. If you can't stay alive, then you can't complete the content. Plain and simple. There are two ways to boost these stats on your characters. The first one is mods, which you get access to very early on in the game, and the second is external components. These drop from just playing the game normally, but can be target farmed, which we'll go over a little bit later in the video. So now we're going to be looking at how to build our Descendants. There are no shortage of build guides and videos out there that will show you how to min-max your way through all of the content. But one of the things that I enjoy about these types of games is figuring out these things myself or tweaking things around to how I like to play. So we're going to break down how to look into these yourself. Every change that you've made to your character can be found in one place, and that's from this start screen. By pressing the up key or the W key, you can actually bring up your skill description page. And this is going to show you what you've done to your character, whether it's add a whole bunch of skill crit rate and crit damage, what kind of cooldown percentage that you have here, or your skill duration up. These main four things are going to be affected by your reactors and your modules, which we're about to get into. Now we're going to get into how to actually build these characters and affect these things. Your first step is going to be your external components. This is where you're going to get your base stats from. Your character has their own base stats, but your external components are going to be what add to that. So as you can see here, I have defense and max HP on this. We also have defense and max MP. We have more HP and defense, and then we have some HP and shield. The way your external components works is your top slots, the white text here, is going to change depending on which set piece you pick. And then all of your yellow stats, you have about 4 options per component. Those can kind of rotate, so this is a part of the in-game grind. It's going to be collecting the different versions of these. So as you can see, we have these right here. These are going to affect these numbers down here. My character has no modules equipped, so these are going to be our base stats that we're working with. So now that we go to our Descendant modules, like I was saying, we are going to be adding our blue statted stuff first. So we're going to add on our increased HP, our increased defense mods. We're going to save that. And you can see that we jumped up a huge amount just from adding 2 separate mods. These are going to be how you start off every single character so that you can survive and do the later content. Okay, so now that we have our base health and defense built up, we're going to be looking at filling out the rest of the character and how to make those decisions. Using Enzo as an example, I know that his kit is a support kit, so we're going to want his ability uptime up as much as possible. So we're going to be building into cooldown and duration. The top part of your screen right here where your character photo is going to show you all of your abilities and what their current timers are, what their costs are, and how much damage that they are going to scale with are. This is how you're going to kind of figure out what effects your modules are making. One of the easiest ways to look these things up so you're not constantly scrolling is on console. This search bar right here, it's going to have a drop-down menu of key terms that you can look up. For PC, we can just type it right in. So we're going to be looking at cooldown. We're going to scroll to the bottom. And once again, I'm highly going to suggest that you build into your blue mods. They're the least expensive and typically give you the most bang for your buck. So with Nimble Fingers, we're going to be popping that in right there. And then I like MP Conversion for a lot of my cooldown builds. It's going to give you the most cooldown for just a little bit of max MP that's going away. And we're going to hit the save button. This is going to show that we have now equipped 62.1% worth of cooldown modules. And then if you take a look at your top skill, this is your ultimate. It has the longest cooldown. It drops from 90 seconds all the way down to 27.7. So these are huge buffs from just 2 modules. Quick note about modules. As far as your MP and shield recovery stats go, these are going to be what helps your character passively charge your skills back up and your shields back up. These are important to make your characters feel better to use. I focus mostly on getting my MP regen as high as possible because I want to use my abilities as much as possible. My first focus is getting a good roll of MP recovery modifier on your memory slot right here. This is going to affect your other 2 regen slots. The first one being MP recovery in combat, and the second one being MP recovery out of combat. What that means is if you're not actively being shot at or actively being shot, that's going to be your out of combat stat. That's what recharges your ability gain really quickly. Your MP recovery in combat, that's going to be if you are shooting or if you have been shot at. If you haven't been shot at, but you are shooting, you are still in combat, but not as much. So that's going to help charge your abilities even quicker. These are important stats to helping the feel of the character. Okay, so we know how we want to build our characters and the things that we're looking for, but we don't know how to target farm these things. We are going to open up our map. We're going to go to Access Info. And then from this page, you're actually going to be able to target farm literally anything you want in the game. Let's say modules, for example. We're having a hard time on intercept bosses. We're not staying alive long enough. We need a little bit more health or a little bit more defense. We can go to the search bar, same way we did in the other character screen. We can type in HP, and then we can actually find something that we like. Battle of Stamina, max HP, duration. We love both of those things, especially for Enzo. We want more duration. HP doesn't hurt. We can actually target farm by looking up acquisition info by pressing F on PC. Once you've clicked that, you can find a long list of different places you can get this. And if you click on that specific thing, let's say like a mission, we know that we can go here, we can do this mission over and over and over again until it drops. We don't want to keep looking this up though, so what we'll do is going to press U to turn on the tracking for this, and by doing that, it's going to show up at our targeted items here at the bottom, so that anytime we go to our access menu, we can just hit F right away and find a different mission to go farm that. Same thing for external components. Maybe you just hit hard mode, your components don't have a ton of great stats on it, so we want to find something a little bit better. Our main focus is getting those HP and defense up first, so we're going to type in HP again. And we can actually find a whole bunch of different modules that can help support our character and make them feel a little bit better. Same thing, we're going to click on target acquisition info, and you can see there's no shortage of places that we can go to farm these. Some of these are going to rotate each week, and they're going to have really good farming spots, so it's good to check back each week until you've gotten a bunch of your set bonuses from intercept battles done. Same thing though, we're going to hit tracking on so that anytime we want to come back, we can actually do this. This is also how you're going to be farming your Ultimate Descendants and your weapons as well. Same thing, we're going to come here, we're going to find where things drop by hitting research info, and we're going to be looking at the blueprints for these components. The blueprints are going to be what you want to farm, not the actual component itself, the blueprints. That's how we're going to be able to find where these things drop. So that is what you're going to want to track in order to quickly find your weapon parts. So one of the last things we're going to go over today is weapons. Weapons are going to be used on all of your characters, so they're a very safe thing to invest your time and resources into. Despite some character builds that can one-shot some of your bosses, your weapons are going to be what shine in-game. My top 3 weapons are going to be the Afterglow, Enduring Legacy, and Greg's Reverse Fate. I use these on all of my characters for most of the higher end activities as they feel the most consistent. I do swap to Thunder Cage and Disastrous Devotion a fair amount depending on the activities. When it comes to building out your weapons, there's a couple things we want to look for before we just start slotting in modules. We can find all of that information after pressing N on the weapon and then pressing Tab to bring up the base stats. We're going to use Tamer as an example here, as it's a very good starter weapon that you can invest into early on, and it's going to last you until you get Enduring Legacy. So when we're taking a look at the base stats of a weapon, there's a couple things we want to always look at. Firearm critical hit rate is one of them. Firearm critical hit damage is the other. And then weak point damage is going to be your last one. This is going to let you know what you can invest into, because each weapon is going to have different stats, and what you invest into is going to go off the percentage that you see here on the side. So we know firearm critical hit rate is not very good on this, as it's only 10%. So if we go down to our blue mods, we know that if we put Better Insight in, which is a 39% increase to your firearm critical hit rate, it's only going to add 39% of the 10%, which is only 3.9%. So it's not a huge thing to invest into on this weapon, but your firearm critical hit damage will be good. That being said, we're going to go over kind of how we would build the Tamer real quick. Rifling reinforcement is going to add on your firearm attack percentage. This is good on every single weapon. I literally put rifling reinforcement on every single weapon that I build, so always feel free to invest into those. Fire rate up is one of the best mods in the game. If you have a high magazine weapon or a decently sized magazine weapon, anything over 10, fire rate up is pretty good. It is going to be something we're going to invest into here. We've already gone over better insight. It's very good on some weapons. It's not good on the tamer, so we're not going to be putting it in. Recycling genius, it can be good, but with reload canceling in the game, it's not as important right now, so we're not going to be putting this on the weapon. Expand weapon charge is good for high rounds per magazine weapons because it's going to add a ton of ammo for you, and it's going to sync really well with fire rate up. Weak point sight is another very good one to invest into, just not on the tamer because like we said, it's only a 1x multiplier, so you're not going to get a ton of value out of it. Better concentration is a firearm critical hit damage. That it is going to be good because it's over a 1x multiplier. So instead of just adding 75%, we're actually adding over a whole multiplier worth of percentage to the weapon, which makes it very good. A couple purple mods that you can always invest into are going to be action and reaction. This is your highest firearm attack mod that you can invest into. Concentration priority is going to be the highest critical hit damage modifier that you can invest into. So feel free to slot those in. And then the last big takeaway here, have aiming is going to be your highest weak point damage modifier that you can add into the game. So it is a good one to invest into on pretty much all of your weapons as well, especially if they work well with weak point damage. Your fire rate concentration mods aren't great because you'd rather just have that extra 5% fire rate. It's the only way you can increase it. So the blue mod is the best in slot for that. And then the other big takeaway for building out any weapons is you can only add one yellow mod to the weapon, so play around with them. I think the best ones are Firing Fiesta for mobbing, Mental Focus for high magazine weapons, and then Sharp Precision Rate is really good as well for anything that you're going to be holding down the trigger on. This works really well with delay as well. So that's going to be it for the video. I hope this was helpful for you, and if you want to see more stuff, feel free to comment and let me know what else you'd like to see, or if you have any questions, feel free to come ask me stuff on Twitch. Thanks, and have a good day.